Look on the back part, there's the exemption
I'm
part.
having a good read. It's good. How's it work? Filling either table 1 or table 2 as appropriate
Yeah, that's
for
if
the
you're not...
working situation. Enter the employee's start and finish times for each day of stage 4 restrictions. Where do you do that, mate?
So on Sunday the 13th of September, me and my team of independent journalists and videographers, we went down to Melbourne CBD to capture the events of the peaceful protests that were taking place at Queen Victoria Market.
Peace and love! 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 Peace and love!
So we got there about 10 AM in separate cars, and as soon as I got there I was straight away approached by police. This first group were fine. They were really friendly, very professional. I showed them all the paperwork that we had. They went through it all, showed them my ID. They gave me the green light, basically said go ahead. Told them I was there for independent journalism and they let me through. So I went to meet up with the rest of the team. They'd already called me and said that they'd been pulled up on the way in, and I'm fairly sure they had their paperwork checked and were allowed in. Then as I go to meet up with them, they're getting harassed by another group of Victoria Police. So I go up and talk to the officers, and now surely in the last 10 minutes something must have changed in legislation. Surely something must have been written up, or some new piece of information must have came to light, because all of a sudden we weren't allowed to be there now and we were being threatened with arrest if we weren't to move on. We did everything in our power to follow the DHHS guidelines, all the correct permitted worker permits, all correctly signed, all the paperwork that was necessary, and still a team of independent journalists are not permitted to cover an event of extremely high public interest.
Look at paperwork in there.
Well, you got to.
You gotta do that.
Yeah.
And we've got more as well, you know, you got to have your accreditation paper.
You got
and
more?
this.
Bring it on, my friend. What do you got?
This is probably one of the biggest stories of the year, if not the decade, and apparently only ABC or Channel 9 or Channel 7 are allowed to be there. So naturally I explained to this officer that the last group I had spoken to had gone through the exact same paperwork, seen my ID, and they were completely fine with us being there. These officers told me I would be fined until I brought up the fact that the first group of officers told me that I was there lawfully and accepted the paperwork that I showed them. As soon as I said this, she went to a sergeant and they came back and said, basically issued me a move on order, told me I had to get in my car and leave the area or I would be arrested. So I complied with that. We left the area, and then as we were driving around the CBD we found another group of protesters, so we decided to just try and grab a few shots from the car in order to not have to deal with police again and go through another 20 minutes of being harassed by the Gestapo, basically. We were driving around, we'd found the protesters, we were getting a few shots in the car, and then an officer sticks his arm in the window and decides to conduct a traffic stop, I guess.
Driver, you want to stop your car for a sec, mate? Stop your car.
Sorry?
Mate, you drive off in this while you're driving the car, you're in a lot of trouble, my friend.
Oh,
Hey, you guys media? What are you doing?
Yeah, independent
Yeah, can I
media.
have some accreditations,
Can I
ID?
pull over or?
You can pull over right there.
Yeah.
Fail to do that, I've got your registration.
Yeah, no worries. Just in the middle of the road.
We explained to him the same thing we'd explained to all the officers before that we're media, and honestly the treatment they gave us was disgraceful and disgusting.
How old that photo, mate?
I was 18, I think.
Yeah. Different hairstyle. Where else do you live at the moment?
That's on the address there. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
Oh, I'm tipping that's more than 5 k's away.
Yeah, but I got a permanent worker permit.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a minute, mate.
They clearly aren't taking their job seriously, clearly shown in the footage that I'm going to provide.
What efforts are you making to find work, or what are you doing today?
Filming the protest.
Filming the protest.
Yeah.
In the car, driving.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's wrong with that?
Wait, do what you got to do.
They are honestly a joke. They seem to all be operating under different sets of rules. They don't care about the people. They don't care about any positive change happening, and they're just power hungry.
Look on the back part, there's the
Oh,
exemption
I'm
part.
having a good read. It's good. How's it work? Fill in either table 1 or table 2 as appropriate
Yeah, that's
for
if
the
you're not.
working situation. Enter the employee's start and finish times for each day of stage 4 restriction. Where do you do that, mate?
Between us, not that it even really matters, but I have a diploma in film and television. One of the other guys I was with has a bachelor's in film and television, and we had a lawyer with his master's in law. So clearly none of this mattered to them at all.
What's the paperwork in there?
Well, you got to.
You gotta do that.
Yeah.
And we've got more as well. You know, you got to have your accreditation paper.
You got
and
more?
this.
What
Oh,
you got on, my friend? What do you got?
you got the documents.
Bring it on. You got more paperwork. Hand it over.
Got that paperwork. It's also got the
What else have you got?
You
subcontracting.
got your
that
lanyard. You know.
Oh, dear me.
Right here.
No, that I do.
Yeah, there you go.
They still did what they had to do, and they just completely wasted our time, and that was the whole point of that traffic stop. So we could not catch up to them, we could not get any content, and we couldn't give a voice to these people.
Wow. Paperwork, drive around.
We have to.
Clearly this is an extreme breach and complete censorship of true journalism.
Aren't you all going to get the same photo if you all drive around the same car?
Sorry, what was
Sorry?
Who gets paid for it?
We do.
Everyone.
Oh, divvy it up.
It's like
Team
going to work
effort.
like you're doing right now. Now we can't go to work, and every time we try to go to work,
Yeah.
you guys stop us.
Yeah.
So we can't feed ourselves.
We need to get once we get past one of your checkpoints and you
Yeah.
guys are happy with us, we need like a letter from you guys.
Yeah.
So the next checkpoint doesn't take us 20 minutes.
Oh,
And
maybe.
say
That's a
something
good
completely
idea.
different.
Is this like what, the 7th
How
checkpoint
do you much
today?
about it now, though?
How much do you get paid a week?
No idea, mate. I don't look at the pay sheet.
Right.
Must
Do
be
you grease
nice.
your palms somewhere else, do you? Of
Yeah. Alright. Don't know what you mean.
course you don't.
What do you mean, grease my palms?
It should be clear right now that the actions this state is taking is more than just about a virus. If it was about health, then why are we seeing the police take such drastic actions to silence these people? We were there lawfully and we were there to do a job, and that job is to give a voice to these people who are not being heard through the mainstream media. We are only seeing one side of this story, and the whole other side is completely disregarded, and anyone who attempts to report on that is silenced. And this is something that people really should be looking into. Because if only one group of people are allowed to report on the news, then how can you trust them? Do we see this for the Black Lives Matter protests? I mean, we've seen journalists being dramatically arrested in front of hundreds of people.
It was quite peaceful until
They've got us!
Like here is not here for any purpose of reason.
Heavy! They've got
Putting
us!
under arrest. But this guy here is going to be placed under arrest right now.
well, I'm under arrest. Yeah, I'm media. I am media. I'm media.
Cooperate with the side of it at the moment.
I've got my permit in my pocket. My permit is in my pocket.
We've seen people get arrested in their houses.
What's this about?
I have an ultrasound
Just let me
in an
finish.
hour.
Let me finish and I'll explain. It's in relation to a Facebook post, in relation to a lockdown protest you put on for Saturday.
And when does this shit end? None of this was done for the Black Lives Matter protests, and they were illegal too. And the numbers were a lot higher, and they'll say, oh, second wave, second wave. I don't know, you tell me, but I don't know, this seems like a lot more than what they're telling us. And the way they're treating people for trying to report on that with lawful exemptions, I just don't even know what to think anymore. I mean, we're going to try and get some more content as this progresses over the next few weeks, but I don't know, it's not looking good for Victoria, that's all I can say.